The Great Koala National Park has been a long time coming. The forests on the mid-north coast are a global biodiversity hotspot, with elements of Gondwana rainforest amid the gum trees. It is home to koalas, greater gliders, powerful owls and many other animals. The decision by the Minns government to protect these forests by converting 176,000 hectares of state forest into national park creates a climate refuge by linking habitat from the coast to the tablelands in the Coffs Harbour region.
We've decided to go for the largest option, and there's a simple reason for that. We are faced with a situation where koalas will go extinct in the wild by 2050 unless we make this decision.
Creating the park was a promise Labor took to the 2023 election and the two before that. In the 2.5 years since gaining office, logging continued while the government went through a painstaking process of assessment, consultation, negotiation, deliberation. Environmentalists and community activists who know and love the forests were frustrated and furious at the destruction that occurred while the government made up its mind.
It's just been so excruciating, this long wait for them to actually announce their decision. So, and a lot of people have been very angry about just the continued logging over all that time.
The timber industry and their unions were equally frustrated and furious that the government was considering locking up so much of what they see as an endlessly renewable resource, despite the impact on jobs. The Great Koala National Park has been a 10-year dream for Environment Minister Penny Sharp. She already had the portfolio as Shadow Minister in 2015 when former Labor leader Luke Foley first promised the park. And for Ashley Love, the man anointed the godfather of the Great Koala National Park for developing the proposal and taking it to Foley, it goes back to 2010. He describes the dawning realisation over the first decade of this century that the regional forest agreements negotiated under the Carr government had delivered a poor outcome for koalas.
We just kept hearing increasing numbers of reports from landholders that there used to be koalas here, but we haven't seen them for 5 or 10 years, or not as many as there used to be. So those reports eventually became so strong that we couldn't ignore them. And in about 2010, 5 local environment groups got together, raised a small amount of funds and employed a very experienced ecologist, David Scotts, to do a preliminary assessment of koalas in this region.
The broader fight to protect the forests of the North Coast goes back decades, and Dylan Pugh from the North East Forest Alliance has been there for most of it.
We've always recognised this is a really important patch of forest down here, and we had our first blockade, I think, in 1990 at Chalundi, which was an area that was full of greater gliders, for example, the highest density of greater gliders known in Australia. So we had to dig in to protect that, and we eventually protected most of that, and that's on the edge of this proposed Great Koala National Park.
And for the Gumbaynggirr and Dunghutti peoples whose country this is, protecting the land and its animals has been the work of millennia. Uncle Alan Phillips, a Gumbaynggirr elder on the Dorrigo Plateau, says he would love to see a Great Koala National Park come to fruition. But whatever the land management, his people need access to practice culture and care for country.
State forests, national park, you know, we would still like a greater say. And the national parks are getting really great at that.
There are hurdles ahead. This remains a proposed park because the New South Wales government wants to secure federal carbon credits for protecting the forest. Labor is in minority government, so it will need the support of the crossbench or the Liberals. It will be a tough time for many whose jobs are on the line, especially forestry workers who don't find or don't want employment in the national park, and mill workers, many of whom are unskilled for other work. The debate over how to help them through this transition will continue. On the upside, the government has committed $60 million of new funding to create the park, including walking trails, mountain bike tracks, campgrounds and picnic areas. It is promising 100 new jobs in national parks and dedicated Indigenous rangers employed through Aboriginal controlled organisations.
Our aspirations for this park are very high. This is not, yes it's great and yes it has a great conservation outcome, But the idea that, we really aspire this to be a world-class park. I want, when visitors from overseas come here, they go and see the reef, they go and see Uluru, and they come to the Great Koala National Park.
Talking up the immense potential of a boom in ecotourism driven by the park, the government is providing $6 million to boost the tourism industry in the region. Matthew Sparius, owner of kayaking and paddleboard tour business Sea Change Adventures, and his 16-year-old daughter Izzy are looking forward to the opportunities.
For us, it's going to be fabulous. I envision that I don't know how many more tourists we'll get, but hopefully we'll be doubling the numbers and having more employees, having more tours running, having more people learn about this beautiful environment around here and hopefully seeing koalas.
Australia's not Australia without koalas, so I think it'll be great.
After so long in the making, it's time to look to the future.